Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get straight to the essential insights on important topics.
And today, we're definitely getting into something important. We're looking at how the government tackles some really tough societal challenges.
Exactly. Things that impact daily life, public spaces, schools, universities, that kind of thing.
Right. And our focus for this deep dive is a specific official document. It's Executive Order 14188.
Okay. Executive Order 14188. What's the title?
It's called Additional Measures to Combat Anti-Semitism. It was signed pretty recently, January 29, 2025, and then published in the Federal Register on February 3rd.
Got it. So our mission today, yours and mine, is to really unpack this. What is this executive order? Why now? And crucially, what does it actually tell the U.S. government to do?
Yeah, the goal is to make sense of this, sometimes dense legal language.
And figure out what it means in the real world, especially for you listening, whether you're, say, a parent, maybe a student, or just someone who wants to understand how these things work.
And just quickly, the source itself, the Federal Register. That's the official place where the government publishes its rules, notices, things like that. So this is the authoritative text we're working from.
Okay, perfect. So let's jump right in. Why this executive order? What prompted it? What's the stated purpose here?
Well, the EU itself is pretty direct about its purpose. It says it's about fighting anti-Semitism, both here in the U.S. and globally.
Okay, fighting anti-Semitism. Is this a completely new direction?
Not entirely. It actually makes a point of reaffirming an older executive order, EO 138899. That one was from December 11, 2019.
I remember that. That was focused on anti-Semitic harassment in schools, on campuses, right?
Yeah.
Trying to use civil rights laws.
Exactly. Protecting American Jews under existing civil rights laws. But this new order, 14188, it makes a pretty pointed claim about that previous one.
Oh, what does it say?
It asserts that the prior administration effectively nullified Executive Order 13899 by failing to give the terms of the order full force and effect throughout the government.
Wow, okay, that's quite a statement. It suggests they felt the previous order wasn't actually being implemented.
That seems to be the implication. It signals a real perceived need for, stronger action now, and it points to a specific catalyst.
Which is?
The order explicitly mentions the Hamas terrorist attacks of October 7, 2023 against the people of Israel.
Right.
It states those attacks unleashed an unprecedented wave of vile anti-Semitic discrimination, vandalism, and violence against our citizens. And it specifically calls out schools and campuses.
So it's directly linking the rise in these issues, particularly in educational settings, to that event.
Yes. And it gets quite specific about the challenges Jewish students are reportedly facing. Things like an unrelenting barrage of discrimination, being denied access to common areas like libraries or classrooms.
Which is incredibly disruptive to just, being a student.
Absolutely. And it also mentions intimidation, harassment, and physical threats and assault. These are serious allegations.
And the order doesn't just state this, it points to other sources.
It does. It references a joint report from several House committees. Apparently, that report called the federal government's previous failure to fight anti-Semitism and protect Jewish students astounding.
Astounding. Strong word.
Very. And the EO then follows up saying that this failure is unacceptable and ends today. So the tone is very much about drawing a line and demanding immediate change.
Okay, so that sets the stage pretty clearly. Urgent problem, perceived failure, need for action. What then is the core policy this order actually lays out? What's the government supposed to do?
The core policy is stated as combating anti-Semitism vigorously, using all available and appropriate legal tools.
Vigorously.
Yeah.
Using all tools. What does that mean in practice? Prosecution.
Yes. It mentions prosecuting, removing, or otherwise holding perpetrators of unlawful anti-Semitic harassment and violence accountable. It's a clear signal to federal agencies to step up enforcement using the laws they already have.
So it's about activating existing legal mechanisms more forcefully, especially maybe in schools and universities.
Exactly. It's directing them to prioritize this, particularly in those educational environments, connecting it back to civil rights and safety.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because it's not just a statement of policy, right?
Yeah.
It gives specific instructions to specific agencies. This is the action plan.
Precisely. Section 3, Additional Measures to Combat Campus Anti-Semitism, gets into the nitty-gritty.
All right, let's break it down. Who has to do what?
Okay, first, there's a broad requirement. Within 60 days of the order, so that deadline would have been March 29, 2025, the head of each executive department or agency had to send a report to the president.
Each agency. Wow. What's in these reports?
Two main things. First, they had to identify all the civil and criminal authorities under their own jurisdiction that they could potentially use to combat anti-Semitism. Importantly, this had to go beyond what was already considered under that previous EO 13899.
So find more tools in their existing toolkit.
Right. And second, they needed to provide an inventory and analysis of all pending administrative complaints against colleges and universities alleging civil rights violations related to campus anti-Semitism, specifically after October 7, 2023.
Okay, so a snapshot of the current situation regarding complaints. And that's for all agencies.
Pretty much all executive departments and agencies, yes. But then some specific departments got additional homework.
Like the Department of Justice.
Exactly. The Attorney General's report had to also include an inventory and analysis of actual court cases, not just administrative complaints against higher education institutions for civil rights violations related to post-October 7th anti-Semitism.
So they're looking at lawsuits too.
Yes, and the AGG had to state whether DOJ planned to get involved in those cases, perhaps by filing what are called statements of interest or intervention, basically weighing in legally.
And the order encourages them to use specific laws.
It does. It points to authorities like 18 U.S.C. 241. That's a federal statute about conspiracy against rights, suggesting that specific, serious tool signals a pretty strong intent to prosecute.
Okay, that's DOJ. What about the Department of Education? That seems critical here.
Absolutely. Their report also needed an inventory and analysis of all Title VI complaints and actions related to anti-Semitism, pending or resolved after October 7th.
Title VI, that's the part of the Civil Rights Act dealing with discrimination in federally funded programs like schools.
Correct. And here's a really crucial part. This requirement for the Department of Education explicitly includes K-12 education, not just colleges and universities.
Whoa, okay, so this reaches down into elementary, middle, and high schools too. That's a huge expansion of scope compared to just focusing on campuses.
It really is. It means the potential impact of this order could be felt across the entire public education system, affecting parents and younger students directly.
Definitely something for parents listening to note. Now, there was also something involving multiple departments working together, right? State, education, Homeland Security.
Yes, that's another significant directive. Those three departments, working together, had to include recommendations in their reports about making universities more familiar with the grounds for inadmissibility under 8 U.S.C. 1182A3.
Oh, okay. Translate that for us. 8 U.S.C. 1182A3.
So basically, that section of the law outlines reasons why a non-citizen, the legal term used is alien, might be denied entry into the U.S. or potentially removed if they're already here. These reasons can include things related to terrorism support, espionage, national security threats.
I see. And the goal is to get universities involved in this.
The idea seems to be for universities to monitor and then report activities by their non-citizen students and staff that might be relevant to those grounds for inadmissibility. The EO suggests this reporting could lead to investigations and, if legally warranted, actions to remove those individuals.
That sounds complicated. It raises questions about the role of universities in immigration enforcement, privacy, academic freedom.
It certainly does. It potentially puts universities in a new position regarding monitoring and reporting on their international community members.
So, thinking practically, for you listening, maybe you're involved with a school or university. This could mean changes in how incidents are handled, what information schools need to track or report, particularly concerning non-citizen members of the community. It adds a layer of federal oversight and potential immigration consequences tied to campus activities.
That's a fair summary of the potential impact, yes.
Okay, so we've covered the why and the what, the directives. But what about the limits? Does this order create brand new laws? Can individuals sue based on it?
Good question. Section 4, the general provisions, addresses that. It explicitly states a few key things. First, the order doesn't impair or take away any existing legal authority agencies already have.
So it works within the existing legal framework.
Correct. It also doesn't interfere with the budget functions of the Office of Management and Budget, and it has to be implemented consistent with existing laws and, importantly, subject to the availability of appropriations.
Meaning they need the funding allocated by Congress to actually do all this reporting and enforcement.
Precisely. Money matters. And maybe the most crucial point for individuals, the order states it does not create any new legal rights or benefits that someone can enforce in court against the government.
Ah, okay. So you can't file a lawsuit saying the government violated Executive Order 14188. It's an internal directive to the government agencies.
Exactly. It guides how they use their existing powers and resources rather than creating a new cause of action for individuals.
Got it. So let's try to pull this all together. A quick recap. This Executive Order 14188.
It's framed as a direct, strong response to what the administration sees as a significant rise in anti-Semitism, especially post-October 7th, 2023, and particularly on school and university campuses.
And it tells federal agencies pretty much across the board to step up, to identify all their existing legal tools, report comprehensively on complaints and court cases,
And to consider specific actions, including potential interventions and lawsuits by DOJ, applying Title VI vigorously in K-12 and higher ed, and even involving universities in monitoring non-citizens regarding grounds for inadmissibility linked to national security.
So understanding documents like this, even if they seem technical, is really relevant for you, the listener, because these are the directives shaping policies that can ripple through schools, communities, and impact civil liberties and how discrimination is addressed.
Absolutely. These aren't just abstract legal documents, they have real-world implications.
Which brings us to our final thought. This deep dive into EO 42188 really puts a spotlight on that constant tension, doesn't it? Protecting civil rights, ensuring safety, especially in places like schools, while also navigating complex issues like free speech and now even immigration status monitoring.
This is a very complex balancing act.
So the question we leave you with is this. What does this specific approach, this focus on leveraging existing tools and increasing reporting and scrutiny within educational settings, suggest to you about how that balance is currently being struck? And what might it mean for the future role of the government in these sensitive areas?